are speaking, so we don't have any background noises. We're gonna use the chat for asking your questions, and I will be the moderator and have a look frequently in the chat. So if there is any questions that you want to ask, feel free to put them in the chat and I will take care of that. My name is Claudia Salowski and I have the honor to do the moderation part today, and I welcome Jens Dröge and Christian Deuschle. Jens and Christian, would you just say a couple of words as an introduction about yourselves, please?
Yeah, I think we start with Christian.
Thank you. My name is Christian. I'm a business coach in Germany, located in Esslingen near Stuttgart. And I'm here because I love PlayMobilPro. Not just PlayMobilPro. It started in my playroom as a child. So that makes me curious about the material. And so I was one of the first people who bought the PlayMobilPro set. And yeah, I'm happy to show you today some things from PlayMobilPro and can answer some of your curious questions.
So my name is Jens. My name is Jens. I'm located also near Stuttgart, Metzingen. That is the famous Adler city. Some of you might know that because you've traveled here and shopped a lot. So I'm a lead trainer for Serious Work in Lego Serious Play. I'm one of the Lego Serious Play online pioneers. And yes, I think just 1 year ago, we brought Lego Serious Play to the internet. I'm author of the German books of Serious Work. I'm also a business coach, change manager, and facilitator. And I do love every facilitation or gamification tool, which is not only Lego Serious Play, but also PlayMobilPro. We're not going to battle today. So this is set so far. So we're just trying to say, where's the boundaries? Where's the limits? What can I do? And this is all of your questions.
Right. And maybe just to get us started, how would you describe the difference between Lego Serious Play and PlayMobilPro? Where can you use what and why?
Who should answer?
The difference between Lego Serious Play and PlayMobilPro. PlayMobilPro is a tool you can do role play with participants of workshops. And it's another kind of role play. It's not the role play nobody wants to do because they are afraid of being funny and other laughing at each other. It's a kind of role play we did in our playing room, in our child's room. We take the figures, we design models, we design environment. And in this environment, we play business situations, for example, processes or team situations or situation with customers and what else. So so you can do, this is the main difference between Lego Serious Play and PlayMobilPro is you can model a part of the reality, how it is and how you would like to have the reality.
Yeah, and Lego Serious Play uses more the metaphor. So the brick is a metaphor and you can give it any meaning. While in PlayMobilPro, you kind of have the meaning already in the tool and the play in the item, which is a chair is a chair, but you can give it a different meaning. But in Lego Serious Play, we can say the brick can be everything. A red one stud or 4 stud brick could be maybe a sausage, could be could be anger, could be fire. So we could give it any meaning. So this is more on an abstract level.
Right, and then remember that you said in our last Q&A session, Jens, that you use Lego Serious Play more in context where it is like a general topic. So how can we work better as a team? What's our vision? What's our goal going forward? To use metaphors. And if it comes to defining processes, like step by step, then you would rather use PlayMobilPro. So what's the difference with respect to how does the method really work? So what is different in terms of the methodology itself?
So Lego Serious Play is kind of framework. So it lays a foundation where you have the 4-step process, which is asking the question, everyone builds, everyone shares, and everyone reflects. You have the so-called skills build, because it's not easy, just bricks on the table and everyone can just use it. It's a process you have to learn. It's like skiing. Just can't go on your skis or snowboard and just go down the hill. It's something you have to learn. It's like Lego bricks. You have to learn it a bit, how to use it and how to express yourself, and it's a more frameworked process. In PlayMobilPro, we don't have a framework. I think it's a kind of new technique. So there's no framework, and every facilitator will develop its own framework when it comes to applying the tool. I think it's rather a tool than a method. Yeah. And another example, I'm just currently writing a proposal where I'd like to use both methodologies. For example, for vision on a new process. So how should we envision the new process? And to get a more emotional collaboration on this. And then in the second part, we're going to use PlayMobilPro to really design and run through the process. Because Lego Serious Play, then that's its limit. You can't use Lego Serious Play to design a process. You could use Lego bricks, of course, but it's not intended to use as Serious Play. The more on detail level you come, the lower Lego Serious Play is the tool to use.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is, first, Lego Serious Play needs more preparation, because you need to be aware that you have to do the skills building first. And then also it depends on how narrow your focus is. So the more narrow your focus is, it kind of calls rather for PlayMobilPro to really build on that. So what questions do you guys have? Let us just open the room. We are just 26. Probably you can also raise your hands if you have a question, or put it in the chat. No questions so far. So Christian, maybe to make it more visible and tangible, would you like to show something to get us started, so that people get a first impression about Lego, not Lego, but PlayMobilPro? Yeah.
Always the same. It's always the mixing of Lego and Playmobil. Yeah, as in our childhood, we used both to build an playing environment. So first, this is the so-called basic set from PlayMobilPro. It's a suitcase with small trays in it, where all the material is sorted. And as you can see there, the main part of it are the white people, men, women, and children. So you can have the white people with no face in it. So they don't have any emotion. They don't have anything that characterize the person. So all you want to do to the person, you have to do it by your own. So there we have accessoires, we have hats, we have clothes, we have pens with color. So you can paint it, or you can write on the figures, and you can clean up it after the workshop. There's no problem. So you can create a totally individual person with the feelings you want to give the person, the figure. So there are some smaller parts for people who make small workshops. This is a so-called starter kit. And in the next month, Playmobil provides some more of those starter kits with different content. But also you can you can you can have a wider variety of material than PlayMobilPro provides. If you go to the PlayMobilPro to the Playmobil shop or to the kids store in your town and buy some additional parts, like we do here with the whale, or you can have cars or something like that. People in workshops also like to use in their models. For example, this one, a rescue boat, it's always used in every workshop. What I like to mention is that you also can use PlayMobilPro with metaphors. For example, with the shark, you can use it as a shark, or you can use it as a metaphor for fear or barriers or whatever. So you can mix metaphors and reality meaning of the material.
Interestingly, Lego Serious Play has the same, has a shark in it as well. In the landscape identity kit, it's a shark included as well, and horses. So yes, of course, you have sometimes the same meaning. Although I tend to take out, everything that it has a given meaning in Lego Serious Play.
And that's again the difference, right? So if you want to use metaphors when using Lego Serious Play, it doesn't make any sense to have things that are pre-described, so to speak, that have a certain meaning attached to them already.
Yeah, sometimes you use it because it makes a richer model. So sometimes currently we can't make face-to-face meetings, but in a face-to-face shared model building, so-called shared model building, we have like the elephant, which makes a rich model, but it has always the same meaning. It's either the boardroom, it's bureaucracy, especially here in Germany, it is, or it's a problem. So, and if I take it out, you have to assemble 2 gray bricks, which could then represent the problem. And that is something I prefer to take out, everything that has a given meaning. That does not mean that I'm not against PlayMobilPro, because it has its use and it's got its sense. For example, another case where we use it is, for example, when you the onboarding process. Talk about the onboarding process of a new employee. When you say, what do you think? How should the characterize the ideal onboarding process of a new employee? That is something that can be ideally done with Lego Serious Play. It's abstract. It uses metaphors. But if you want to run through the process of the onboarding process, then PlayMobilPro is the meta of choice. Then it's a tool of choice, because then we can run through it, we can iterate it, and we can walk around and move things around and rebuild it.
Well, this is band radio.
Let's just focus on the questions that we already have in the chat and go through them one by one. So the first question was, are there any studies for Playmobil usage in projects and/or big companies?
Not so far, except our experience that we do with our workshops. All this experience is going to a training. Actually, we provide a training for PlayMobilPro facilitators, but there's no official study. And this is also a difference between Lego Serious Play. Lego Serious Play is a method, is studied by the scientists. And PlayMobilPro is just a tool. It's material. It's not a method, and it has no framework. And the facilitator has to create his framework for each workshop. It's not a thing that goes by itself. It depends. It depends hardly on the facilitator.
But that's the same with Lego Serious Play. And I think in a proper training, which is offered widely and also by us, is that you have to learn how to facilitate the method. It's not just learning the method you can read about how it works scientifically. But if you want to learn how to facilitate, then you should go to a training and learn how to facilitate the method, how to steer people. And I think that is even more important in PlayMobilPro, because as Lego Serious Play in its framework says that everyone is sharing, everyone is collaborating, 100% is involvement. In PlayMobilPro, the facilitator has to take care that no one breaks out of the process, so that everyone is involved in the process, has to bring people back. So it's more, maybe needs more directiveness than Lego Serious Play.
Right, and maybe we can add that acceptance question, and there is also some examples in the chat that you guys are discussing. So what is your experience about the acceptance in business context with senior managers? And here the example is setting up a customer journey with Lego, but I think that's a general question. So what is the acceptance that you are facing? What is your experience regarding acceptance of the methodology?
Christian, maybe you want to go first.
Yeah, I think it's the same Lego Serious Play and PlayMobilPro. You should not call it a Lego Serious Play workshop or a PlayMobilPro workshop before you have the participants in the room. We like to focus on the solution and not on the tool. So Jens and I, we decide always which tool we use. In fact, of the tool, what we like to reach with the people. So it's not important which tool or which brand we have in the workshop. So this is our strategy. Not to call it, hey, it's a PlayMobilPro workshop, whatever you should do, always you can have a lot of fun. This is not our service. We like to focus on the goal, on the goal. We like to focus on what the people have to get through.
Yeah.
So form follows function, basically, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And as Sean and I write in the book in our book Serious Work, it is chapter 2, and this does not even have anything to do with Lego Serious Play. It's always start with the end in mind. So it is what is the outcome, and the outcome drives the process and the method of choice. So if the outcome is something we want to run through a process, then the method is something different. It's not Lego Serious Play. It's maybe not even PlayMobilPro. It might be something completely different, which could be paperwork or facilitation card or grid card or World Coffee. So it's not selling a method, and never should you ever sell a method. You should put the method first. It's always the client that you should put first, and you don't sell a method, you sell a solution. If you're an agile coach, you have agile methods to bring in a problem, to solve a problem for your client or your customer. If you're a business coach, you have something, a tool for business coaching. This could either be PlayMobilPro or Lego Serious Play or something completely different, or maybe picture cards. Whatever it is, it's the process and the result that drives the choice of the method, the weapon of choices.
Right, and speaking of how to probably position it, and also speaking about Scrum Master, I read that question in the chat. There are a couple of questions around how to become a Lego Serious Play certified facilitator. Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, that's probably me best to answer. So there's different ways of facilitation. There's, I think there are 3 or 4 great schools where you can learn how to become a facilitator. This is Robert Rasmussen, who is the inventor of Lego Serious Play. Not the inventor, he's not the inventor, but he's done great for the further development of Lego Serious Play, which is a 4-day training, but it's very, I think, I've run through this, very academic. Then there's in Germany, there's Matthias Haas, right, Christian? Matthias Haas, yeah. Which is a 2-day training. And then there is Strategic Play, which was also trained by Lego. And then there's us, Serious Work, which a different approach where we train to facilitate, how to facilitate Lego Serious Play. And our trainings are offered in the US, in Asia, in London, and here in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Currently only online, currently only train online Lego Serious Play. And if you want to train how to learn online, then we're the only one that can train Lego Serious Play. In PlayMobilPro, I think it's a bit different. There's no currently yet something, so everything is evolving, everything is growing. There's Matthias Haas, there's us, Christian, setting up a training. And I think you can find some people in Spain already, but there's no real, everything is, it's brand new. It's like, I call it, it's like greenfield.
Right. And there were some additional questions regarding first remote work. So how do you work remotely with the both methodologies? And then also there was a question on, you said that you would not use or rather not use Lego Serious Play to work on a process. And the question is why? So how is it different and why would you not use Lego Serious Play as opposed to PlayMobilPro for designing a process?
What was the first question? Sorry.
First question was about remote use. So in a remote setting,
yeah.
how can you use both methodologies?
Okay. Lego Serious Play. I think Jens can tell a lot of things about Lego Serious Play online. PlayMobilPro is a little bit more difficult, but it's also possible. So what we do is we send the participants those small cases with material, so they can decide if they want to have it and buy it or send it back to us after the workshop. And everybody on his side, on his table, in front of his monitor, can build a model with PlayMobilPro. And then we share it over the Zoom or any other online tool. And then we build gemeinsames Modell, a shared model. Yeah, thank you. And we build a shared model. So it's not possible that everybody can do his hand in the shared model, but it also works remotely that we have a shared model and everybody is involved in it. So also build an emotional relationship to the model and is engaged in it.
Yeah. And what was the second part of the question?
The second part was regarding the process. So why would you not recommend using Lego Serious Play for designing a process?
Because it's less abstract. The more abstract you get, the more useful is Lego Serious Play. I think I found it, of course you can buy, you can design a process with it, but it's less I'd say emotional. It's less committing by working on a process rather than an emotion. Lego is great for breaking down emotional barriers, but running through and iterating a process, I think it's better to have something I find it better to use something that is more viable, more something that you can really touch and run through, like Playmobil or something else. Of course, you can, and I've done this before I had PlayMobilPro. I built a process and we built like a factory plant, a production plant, and we built the little departments in the production plant. We built them using metaphors, but then connecting them like a stream and like a value map, that was very, very demanding, very complex. And we found that would have been easier with something different. So. And then, of course, you can use it, but as a sheer dogma, you can't use Lego Serious for process. It's written in the white papers, but of course, you can use everything. You can use Lego bricks, and it's a great tool. Lego is a great. I also use it for lean manufacturing simulation, which is Lego, but it's not Lego Serious Play. It's just a lean simulation uses Lego bricks, but it's not Lego Serious Play.
Right. There were also some questions around cost. Of course, it's some investment to get you started, both with Lego Serious Play and also with PlayMobilPro. And there is a question to Christian. So how much is just one drawer for participants? Is it available separately? For example, if you do one-on-one coaching? And maybe you can talk a bit about the usage in one-on-one coaching settings as well.
Okay, talking about PLAYMOBILPro costs and the second question. These two cases are one kit, and you can't buy just one of these cases. I think you need both, and the cost is about 120 euros plus VAT. The basic set, the big one, is 499, 499 euro plus VAT. So this is the cost. For coaching, I think the small kit is enough, and I would do it. So send it to the coachee, and if the coaching is ready, he should send it back to you. Or you do the price in your coaching pricing.
So I think it requires a bit more logistics, the PLAYMOBILPro, because it's more tools, it's more stuff that you have to send out. And Lego Serious Play, you just send out, we send out an online, depending on the size of the workshop, we just send out 1 up to 6 Windows, so-called Windows exploration kits, which is quite a low postage, depending on where you parcel it to. But within Germany, this is 155 postage on Windows exploration kit. Whereas you send out the and you just leave it there because it's not so expensive. You send out to your client a PLAYMOBILPro kit. You have at least 5 years of 6 years of parceling costs, plus you have the investment of 120 euros for this starter kit. Now imagine you have 6 people in a workshop, you need 600 and almost 800 euros of investment just for the starter kits. And you don't want to leave it with your client, you just want to have it back.
And just showing the window exploration kit in the camera, so it's quite nice and simple to be sent over to participants.
Saying this, currently they are out of stock. So because in Poland it's a lockdown and you can't get them, there's none of the stuff is available currently.
I managed to get one of the final deliveries actually, so I got enough. If anyone needs something, let me know.
I think this is one of the difference, especially for remote, that PLAYMOBILPro needs more logistics. It's more expensive if you just use the provided kits. What you can do is you can build your own kits, but yeah, the white figures are very more expensive than the usual PLAYMOBIL figures. The white ones have a cost of 10 euros each, and a normal figure you can buy from 199 to 299 in every supermarket. So individual kits are also more expensive than a Windows exploration kit.
Right, and there is a discussion going on in the chat regarding pricing, and please note that this is different from country to country, of course.
Yes.
So I did notice that in the Netherlands, Lego is much cheaper than in Germany, actually.
Oh.
So it's not Lego Serious Play only, but also the other usual sets. And I think that, of course, after the lockdown, once they can provide again, they can supply again, it will be back in stock, I guess.
And I just posted a website in the chat window, brickshop.nl, which is a great source in the Netherlands for getting all kind of out of stock bricks. Yvonne, you should check that.
Great. So any other questions? I don't see any additional questions in the chat. Anyone that would like to raise their hand and post a question either in the chat or say it out loud?
Hi, I'm Marta. I'm also a Lego Serious Play facilitator, and I also have a question for you guys. Thanks for meeting this and to have opportunity to talk about it. Nowadays, how you think is the reception of the Lego Serious Play in a virtual world that you are doing? Because most of the Lego Serious Play we have to do hands-on, And nowadays we can't use the other techniques, the sharing model and the others, because it's quite difficult to do it online. So how you manage with the clients nowadays?
Okay. Nice that you asked this question, Marta, because exactly 1 year ago, Chambla and I managed to bring Lego Serious Play shared model to the internet. So because we had the same problem. We had clients asking us, we want to do we want to have 100% participation, but currently we can't go out. So what we do is we didn't let ourselves limit by dogmas. We just said, well, we have to do something, and we invented the process that's called Magic Hand and Share, Magic Hand Build Along, where we, as a facilitator, work as the magic hand, where the participants steer our hands, and we build the shared model for them. So we facilitate the process, build them. So you can read this in our book, How to Facilitate Lego Serious Play Online. And we've run, I think, 20-30 client workshop already with that. We've trained more than 200 people online, and so we know it works. So that's at least the feedback that we get. And there's also the other stuff to bring more the haptical, the tactical part of it. Is we have it taken a step further, which is the build along process, where every participant also builds a replica of the shared model in front of this stuff. So we send out base plates, we send out material to every participant. So we would have sent material to you, and we would facilitate the process, and you would just build with us, and you could turn the model around, and then you could see the model evolving, and you could feel the commitment and participation. Plus, what we found out that it seems to be less the tactical bit of Lego Serious Play. It seems to be more that everyone's being heard and respected. And I found in the last year, I found out that it's even more important to people to be actually heard, and like the quiet is loud and the loud is quiet. I think that is where the magic lies in Lego Serious Play, is the participation. And we've even found out, and maybe some of you who have experienced Lego Serious Play on the internet, is that we had participants that couldn't get the bricks on time. So we used box of spices, we used text markers, we used Post-it notes in individual model building, and it worked. It just worked perfectly. It was more the fact that everyone was involved, everyone would be able to share, and it's I think this is where the true magic of Lego Serious Play is. It's not just touching the bricks. It's important, but being heard and being involved and being participant is even more important. And that's why I personally think that facilitation is the key. Not the methodology is key, facilitation is the key. You can read the method, you can read about PLAYMOBILPro, you can read about Lego Serious Play. There's great books about the science behind it. But when it comes to the process, I think facilitation is really fundamental.
Okay, any additional questions around using the methodology online, or probably different questions? Not right now. So then let me ask an additional question. So what would be any settings where you would not recommend using either of the methodology? Who would like to go first?
I'm thinking.
Me too.
I would say it really depends on the outcome, the desired outcome. Usually, I think Lego Serious Play is a massive tool, and it's a very handy tool for almost any kind of workshop, but not every kind of workshop, but almost 80% of the workshop. So it's my tool of choice whenever it's the right tool, but it cannot be the right tool by PLAYMOBILPro. But sometimes it could be that in a very conservative environment, that people are really not up to any kind of gamification. I'd rather use something normal, I'd say, if it's the right word. use more. I had this. I had a two-day workshop, and I thought, well, and I spoke to the client. I said 2 days of Lego Serious Play is just too much. Can we do some kind of other intervention to maybe feel more of group dynamics? So this was about how to find out how many projects can actually a group steer. And we did something else. We made some kind of intervention from group dynamics, and that would not have been possible with either or.
Right, and I'm probably gonna add the question that Marina just raised, and also give that to both of you. So she writes, when it comes down to difficult CEOs, etc., how do you kind of convince them to give Lego Serious Play and PlayMobilPro a try? And that maybe goes also back to the boundaries of methodologies that are in the heads of people, right? So how would you convince them?
I think it's it's a matter of mindset. If they don't want to, you cannot convince them. But there are some arguments that might catch them. It's shorter. You get more and more options of solutions with those tools. You can involve everybody in the workshop, not just always the same people. Everybody can bring their thoughts and their ideas in, not just always the same. So this is just that are big advantages against the conservative roundtable meetings, brainstormings or whatever. They're always the highest, the strongest, with the most own interests bring their ideas in, and the others are quiet and wait and are afraid or whatever. But with those tools, you involve everybody, and this is a big advantage. You can use the potential of the people. You pay anyway. On the one hand, on the other hand, you pay for the people. So please go through the potential of the people, use them. They want to be involved.
That's another question that I tend to ask is, I don't convince people, but I tend to ask is, what kind of leader do you want to be? Do you want a participative leader, or do you want to be a directive leader? And hardly anyone says, I want to be a directive leader, leading like in the 80s, top down. So I want to have participation. So and if you have that, then you say, oh, I have great tools for you that we can use. Maybe give it a try. We can always go back to something else. We can go to conservative methods. You can always use scissors, rock, and paper. So that I used to ask. And also, then it's, again, what is the desired outcome of the workshop? If it is just to support a manager's opinion, neither of the tools is the right tool. So neither Lego Serious Play nor PlayMobilPro is good to just rebuild the opinion of a manager of C-levels. So that is something that I'm not a facilitator to just build something to what we say Meinungsverstärker. I don't know the English word for that. So to support someone's already set mindset or cemented mindset.
Thank you for that. So any additional questions? And you can also feel free, like Marta did, to just open your mic. And there is a question in the chat. Would it be possible to rent the kits? For which price? And Jens, I think you can put that in the chat as well. There are several.
Yeah, for Lego Serious Play, it's leansp.com. The colleague Christoph also rents out. I think he passes worldwide. So also when you want to have some material to the furthest outpost in the world. If you want to have it to Dubai or Saudi Arabia or something, or I think parcels everywhere. He has experience how to parcel and how to sell, how to get this stuff there. I don't know. You can rent sets there for face-to-face meetings. And I don't think he does Playmobil Pro yet. I think he's going to start it, but I don't think he's doing it yet. But it's worth a try. His website is excellent on Lego Serious Play, renting out landscape and identikits.
Also probably a workaround for the lockdown situation where you can't buy everything.
Yeah.
And then
Playmobil Pro for remote.
yeah.
Is that a question? So I don't
what
know,
would the question be?
I don't know where to rent it, actually. I don't know. Currently, I'd say get your own stuff, send it out, and get it back and disinfect it.
No, not at the moment. The question is if we offer Playmobil Pro material to rent. No, we don't at the moment. We hope that Christoph Lean SP, Lean SP, it's the website, will do so. But we have the material for our participants, but not for sending out. It's too much space and at the moment too expensive to store it.
And it's just not my business case. I'd rather facilitate rather than pass.
Right.
No, but I don't know, Ravid, I don't know where you're from, but maybe there's a way to check the website and Frankfurt. Okay, yeah, then you should get it in, can get it on Lego Store and get some stuff handy. And if you have children, great. Your children will be happy to play around with the Lego Serious Play. And your two cats will be very happy. And I know that the Playmobil Pro website, you can select which country you're from, and then you can just select. And I think that they all almost pass worldwide.
Right. And Dana just added that it's also possible, of course, to assemble your own kits by just buying stuff and put it in your drawer and use your own stuff as well.
Yeah. There's something I want to add. Sorry for jumping in. Dana said it's possible to assemble their own kits on Bricklink. Bricklink is a great resource for buying used Lego bricks, but be aware that Bricklink is owned by Lego, and Lego is steering the supply and demand and the pricing of used Lego bricks. So it is possible, but the price is almost the same as if you buy it on new parts, especially on spare items. So they have control of the after-sales market now.
Thanks for adding that and making that transparent to everyone in the room. So any additional questions? Now is the time to ask anything you ever wanted to ask about Lego Serious Play and Playmobil Pro. Tanya is just raising her hand. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? We have a very bad connection here in Bavaria. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we
can hear you. Okay.
Jens, you're quite a trendsetter. So have you had any chance to combine those two methods, like having a workshop where you started off with Lego Serious Play and then just moved on with Playmobil Pro?
Yeah, I actually just writing another proposal on that. So where we will do the vision on a new process, where we would envision what is expected from that. So get a common ground and a common, clear understanding of the objective of the new process. Where we'll use in the morning we'll use Lego Serious Play, and in the afternoon we will design and reiterate the process using Playmobil Pro. And I'm actually just working on that. On this proposal.
Oh wow, that sounds good. So
yeah,
I'm hoping
it sounds good enough.
You open up a new meetup then soon. Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? And if that is not the case, is there anything, Jens we have another question. Has anyone ever tried to use Lego Serious Play or PlayMobilPro in schools or universities with students?
Yes, the answer is yes. I have tried Lego Serious Play at the university. I'm also a lecturer at the Lunchbreak University. We have lead trainers in the UK using it at the University of Exeter with students and professors, and it works quite well. I know people that use it with. I have trained people that use it with in schools and with juveniles, and works perfectly, especially with juveniles.
Yeah, with PlayMobilPro, I didn't, but there is Maddie. Do you have used PlayMobilPro or Lego Serious Play?
Yeah, I use Lego Serious Play. We use it quite a lot actually for careers and professional development for students of all levels. So we use it from undergraduate, so years, they're about 18, all the way up to executive MBA. So anything, up to sort of around 60. Yeah, and it works perfectly.
So it's almost a sample for it's easier to use the Windows exploration kits with big audiences and then PlayMobilPro with this material. You need more material with PlayMobilPro. So with a bigger group, you need a lot of material.
And you need more facilitators.
And more facilitators, yeah. With Lego Serious Play, you can have one facilitator for 200 or 300 people, if he is good, trained by Jens or so. PlayMobilPro needs more facilitators. You need one facilitator for a group with 8 or 12 people. So if you have 200 participants, you need especially more facilitators for that. So, but I think it's possible to use it in a university with small groups or with more groups that work parallel to each other.
Right. And Guy, thank you. You offered to share some of your experience in combining the methods as well. Feel free to open your mic and share that.
Oh, hi. Yes. Yeah, so I've used LSP and PlayMobilPro together, so they're in the same model. And what I've found is that LSP works really well if you think of it as almost a 3D representation of the challenge or problem that you're trying to address. And then the use of PlayMobilPro to put yourself or the participants actually in the problem so that they can then see it from different angles and then appreciate, how do different people see it. So that works really well. And because PlayMobilPro perhaps has a richer set of costumes and props, you can then also have a richer sort of narrative that builds up, but they work really well together.
I thank you for this input, Guy. I could imagine that you could even enlarge the model. You could build a shared model, a shared vision, for example, with Lego Serious Play, and then build a SWOT analysis using PlayMobilPro, which I probably found much better than than using Lego.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Anything else that you guys would like to either ask or share when it comes to your experiences or questions? And if that is not the case, I would like to ask you, Jens and Christian, what are your top 3 lessons learned or tips that you would like to share with the group?
Christian, you go first.
Okay.
I'm pushing you in front of the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, the main reason, or maybe one of the 3 main reasons, is it's not the material, it's the facilitator. Second is it's not the material, it's the facilitator. And the third is it's not the material, it's the facilitator. Yeah, you can do workshops with every material. It's your turn. You are in charge, and you are the one that lead the people through a workshop.
Okay, mine would be always start with the end in mind. So what is the outcome? The outcome drives the method, or whatever you use, either or neither. It is facilitation is key. A good facilitator drives the process, drives the people, not the process. Third one is don't rely on the sake of just the material.
Great. Great insight. So there is one, maybe second last or last questions. There are classes for LSP facilitators ranging from 1 day to 4 days. Do you suggest to go big? I think the difference is, as far as I remember from my own education, is it about learning the methodology, or is it about learning how to facilitate the methodology? Jens, would you like to add something?
Yeah, there's actually two questions I'd like to answer. Yes, of course. There's 4-day training. There's 2-day training. So depending what you want. The 4-day training is for example, the Associate Master Training trains for 4 days. You go through the process. You're being facilitated, and you learn how to facilitate. You also learn a shared model. For example, we do a 2-day training, and so does Matthias Haas. It's a 2-day training where we don't cover the shared model, the system model. Sorry, it's the system model. We don't cover the system model in this training because this is something we say it's something only interested people should do, and only people who like to do this. We also train people to how to facilitate. So this is the basic difference. So how do you want to approach a training? What do you expect from a training? Do you want to be facilitated? Do you want to be more at the theoretical input, or do you want to learn how to facilitate? That is basically that you have to decide, and then you go out and check and ask maybe your peers and say, what should you do? And the second thing I think is to Yvonne, it's not a facilitator. Yes, but I mean that is start with the end in mind. This is, of course, it is important because you need to know with order clarification. This is order clarification. This is why it start with the end. And if you have a proper order clarification, you know which process and which questions are asked. Yes, of course, it's important.
Cool stuff. Thank you for that. So maybe we use the last couple of minutes for both of you, Jens and Christian, to tell people where they can find you and where they can meet you, either online or face-to-face. So what would be next dates? What would be occasions where we could learn more about either of the methods?
Christian.
Yeah, you can find me in the internet, who wonders, at christiandeuschle.com or LinkedIn. Please feel free to connect. I would love to. Yeah, and we provide an PLAYMOBILPro training at pmp.freiräume.com.
Maybe you can post it in the chat. That's going to be easy, I guess.
I think so. Yeah, and if you are interested please send us an email or call us.
Great. Thank you. Jens.
You will find me on this address. This is my website, or you can find more about Lego Serious Play resources. You can find some use cases, something where I find, for example, my opinion on skills build on Lego Serious Play Online. And you can find training dates here and what makes the training difference. Also, international training dates for UK training or international online training can be found serious.global. And this is my LinkedIn profile. And please, I'm happy to get connected with all of you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And on the LinkedIn profile, you are also going to share the link to the live stream recording, so that in case anyone wants to revisit, just go ahead and watch the video. And thank you very much for your questions and for your attention and your attendance. It was very interesting and very nice having that discussion with you. And thanks to Jens and Christian for being there and answering all the questions. And I think that's it.
Yeah. One last question. Do you think we should do these sessions more often in English?
I see some people nodding.
Yeah.
And yes, and a heart. So
Yes.
it seems like, yes, we should.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Cool. Perfect. So thank you very much. I think we're going to stay for a couple of more minutes. If anyone has got an additional question, please feel free. We are here until the hour. And as Jens and Christian mentioned, you can also find us on LinkedIn and post any questions.
And if you have any question you don't like to answer, don't you like the question ask here, then just feel free to send us a message.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.